brainstorming and sharing ideas is the funnest part of the creative process, we decided to skip the boring part of actually making stuff and just do the fun part. I'm your host, Tom Walma.
I'm Nico Lukoff.
I'm Justin Hicks.
I'm Skippy Rose.
And this is Creativity Wasted. So I had the idea a few weeks ago, wondering, because there's all these VR stuff happening, has there been any technological increase in roller coasters in theme parks? So I started Googling around, and there's one drop tower somewhere in Germany or something where you put on a VR headset and there's a game controller in the headset and you're shooting at fake things by pressing the button on the headset.
Cool.
And then there's a roller coaster somewhere, not like a Disney or Six Flags or anything I'd heard of, but somewhere where you have VR headset on. But one of the complaints on the YouTube video where I saw that was that there was only one VR video and they wanted to mix it up and see different things each time they ride the ride. And that gave me the idea of what I think would be the perfect roller coaster. I would call it the reprogrammable roller coaster, but what it would be it wouldn't actually be reprogrammable. So there would be one really long roller coaster track, but so the thing that you sit in would go all the way around in a circle, but it would be divided into 5 separate rides. So you wouldn't go all the way around the circle. You'd go 1/5 of the way. And so what would happen is there would be 5 different rides for the same coaster. So one would be Wild West themed, one would be space themed, one would be jungle themed, whatever. And all the lines would mix up as you're waiting in line. So you wouldn't know, let's say the first segment has 2 loops, the second segment has 3 loops. You wouldn't know when you walked up to the line for the jungle one whether it would have 2 loops or 3 loops, or the big hill or the littler hill. So it would be a surprise.
That's cool.
Move the track so you can create different layouts and stuff like that?
No, the track never moves.
Oh, okay.
But railways and how they go left or right when there's a fork. You know what I mean?
None of that either.
Okay.
Just one track that it always goes down, but you only go 1/5 of the way, and you don't know which one you're gonna be on. And it would probably be indoors or in a separate spot, so you couldn't guess because they're all intermixed. All the different segments, it's looping around. The whole idea is it's not actually reprogrammable, but it's unpredictable because you don't know which segment you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And also I thought you could maybe not reprogram the track, but you could have effects. It could have these certain areas where it stops and a water thing comes, or a show with things popping up, or a hologram snake coming down and lunging at you, and that would all be reprogrammable. Maybe even the speed that it goes up the hills, and and all the sound effects and things with it. So the idea would be that it would be almost impossible to figure out what's going to happen next between the delays and not knowing what track you're on, and the fact that there's or segment of the track you're on, and that there's 5 different ones, and the timing is changing each time they refresh the ride with a new theme or whatever. And it doesn't have to be the tallest coaster in the world or the fastest. It's all about unpredictability, element of surprise. Every year when you come to Cedar Point or whatever, all 5 of them will feel different, and you're not going to know. It's going to feel fresh and new every time.
Yeah, I like that, because that is one of the thing about roller coasters especially, is you do lose that kind of feeling you get from the big drops or turns or whatever after you've ridden the rides a couple times. So not knowing when they're coming up or what's going to happen, that's going to bring a lot of that Like when you're driving in the car and you hit a bump and your stomach drops real fast. Be a lot more like that, I feel like. You could even add, like, if it's interactive, do like a shooting game, shoot aliens or something like that, get scores from it. And that'll keep you a little more distracted to add more to the drops and the turns and stuff like that. Don't even see them coming.
Yeah, I like the idea of adding tech, but all the tech doesn't have to do with how the actual coaster works. It's all like
what you're
shows
seeing.
and like maybe because like the Apple Vision Pro, you can like pinch with your hand. So maybe you could finger gun and not have to actually carry a plastic gun.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't actually wear the VR headset. Maybe it's all holograms and like all of this stuff that goes along with it changes, but the actual $200 million or whatever it costs to build the thing, the actual coaster is always the same. Just everything else. Maybe they could even make it so like modular, configurable. You just upload a program and boom, it's changed.
Yeah.
Like all of the other stuff, like 1 second it's jungle theme, next second it's space theme, like totally reprogrammable.
I could see kids riding it over and over and over again because they wanted to see a very specific thing that they saw on like the YouTube walkthrough.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, no, if we just ride it like 5 more times, it's bound to happen. It's like, oh, dear Lord.
And you got to come back next year to see if you can remember the feeling of that 200-foot drop this way, or did they change this that way or whatever? Like that would be.
Then it breaks down.
Yeah, that's one risk is because the way I saw it, there's one coaster that's used for 5 rides. And so it breaks down, they're all 5 SOL. But the idea is that it's not pushing technical boundaries. It's not like the fastest coaster. It's not like the tallest coaster. So hopefully they can make it reliable.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, you definitely don't need it as much when you don't know what's coming up next because those drops will get you.
Yeah. So my wife just got back from Disneyland, she went on a trip with some friends, and it's just like that's just so much of their stuff where like you know they redo a ride that like I know you're not doing the exact same thing as Disneyland, but like and it changes everything just by changing some of the tech and the stuff that you look at. But that combined with some of those other things you're talking about is super cool.
Oh yeah, because even the most crazy coasters, once you've done it once, you're like, eh.
Yeah.
Like even Top Thrill Dragster, like I did it twice and I'm like, meh, not worth the long line kind of a thing. It's like it's cool. But
Didn't they shut that one down because a bolt fell off and like killed somebody?
Landed on some lady's head. I think she lived.
Oh.
I think it just gave her a nasty gash like in the top of her head or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Is Millennium Force still going?
I believe so. They're doing something with the dragster. They're changing it up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but like I think they added to where it goes backwards now and then shoots you up. But I have no idea.
Magnum was always my favorite coaster.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Line's never that long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can just keep going.
The Maverick, solid. I like that one a lot with all the turns going back and forth.
It's super comfy too. They got the cushiony straps.
And it's smooth. It is such a smooth ride.
Yep, no whiplash.
Oh.
I haven't been to Cedar Point in a long time. When I first got out of college, I had a friend who had a gastric bypass surgery. He was always like huge, like too fat to ride the rides. And then in his like mid to late 20s, he lost enough weight where he could ride the rides. And every fucking year he wanted to go.
Don't blame him. After, yeah.
I've never been there. Now I just looked it up. I gotta go. New to the state. Sounds awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
And it's not a super far drive. Well, like 2.5, 3 hours, depending on where you're at in Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, from where I'm at now, I moved in with family here. It's a haul, like 4 or 5 hours. But from Detroit area, it's not that far.
There's Michigan Adventure out there, out your way.
Yeah, but
definitely not a Cedar Point.
I was like 12, but I don't see need to ever go again when you can go to Cedar Point.
Yeah. There's Mike's down there too, so you can make it a 2-for trip.
In Sandusky or Toledo?
Well, you could hit Toledo. I'm sure Sandusky has something, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know how big that city is. I've literally only been there for Cedar Point.
I've only heard about it in Tommy Boy. So that's it.
I've only done comedy in Toledo, but Ohio is one of those states where there's like several decent sized cities, like Cincinnati and whatever. Columbus. There's like 5 big enough cities where there could be comedy. Unusually.
Not a whole lot in between.
But yeah, with the coaster thing, I like the idea too of like, okay, you have a jungle themed one and you do that for a while. It's got like 2 loops, and then maybe you move it to a different segment, like without telling anybody. So the next time they ride it, there's an extra loop and they're not expecting it.
Oh, that would be cool.
And then I like the idea of like special occasions, because it's one long track. So instead of having 5 rides using that, you could have like 4 and have one as a surprise be like twice as long. Like use 2 of the 5 segments.
Yeah.
People are thinking it's going to be over and it just keeps going for an extra 2 minutes, like as a bonus.
I don't know. I just thought there could be special days of the week where they do that, like on days that are slower for the park. They can advertise that that's longer or whatever.
That or, yeah, people just don't know what's coming. They think they're going back to get off the ride and they hit another hill.
What if it was like, if you knew you were on that time, that like there's just one time that it runs the entire thing.
Yeah.
And you just know when that happens, you won $1 million or like something nuts. Wouldn't that be just the coolest thing to just be like on that ride, knowing that, having that exciting moment with everyone around you and you're just flipping out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how the screens change to like just money falling down and stuff for the rest of the ride.
I could see people doing proposals if that was an option.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I could totally see people running that.
On this one in particular, or just any roller coaster?
No, on that one in particular, right? Because if the whole idea is they're always changing and you can change the theme, right? And there's 5 things, so you would only have to have one of them down for commission for like a little bit. And then the way that they do the random lines, right? And just make sure that they go like that one line that's going to go to that segment or whatever.
Oh, so they're not just proposing like without telling the park. The park is doing this special proposal themed ride.
Yeah, it would be a hefty fee, but people would do it. I'm sure.
Rollercoaster looks like our first restaurant, or
That would be cool. That's cute. Yeah.
Really cool.
Have like a slideshow of pictures of you guys together and shit.
Yeah. And she has to say "I do" as you're plunging.
if she says no,
I do.
oh, man.
She pukes.
I don't know what happens, but
that'd be funny. Just passes out.
I do that on coasters sometimes. I have to be careful.
Puke or pass out or
Pass out, and it freaks out the person next to me if they're not expecting it.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like,
like for minutes.
oh yeah, like whole minutes of the ride. Because when you get scared, sometimes you do play possum a little bit. And apparently that's a defense mechanism that I have.
You're like one of them fainting
like
goats.
That's a normal thing, but I don't think it is.
Oh no? Yeah,
I think you should avoid roller coasters, to be honest.
It hasn't happened to me in a while, but it's happened to me a few times, and it freaked out my mom the first time it happened.
Oh my god! If we're on a ride, and one of my kids was like asleep.
Well,
right
he said I was screaming, and then I was out. Kind of thing.
Do you also pass out like in other life situations out of fear?
Yeah. When I was younger, I had
like an open mic. You're not prepared for it. Just down you go.
No, it has to be like mortal peril. It can't just be.
Not just emotional.
You don't feel that on stage, that mortal peril? No, definitely the first time I did.
I almost passed out in college. I went to an engineering college, and they make you do a bunch of different things, and we had to do like with the molten metal. I forget what it's called. I didn't go into that area of work, obviously. Like for welding or whatever, they had like this molten thing of metal, and I was so nervous I almost passed out. They said that 1 or 2 people every year do that, and
really?
I was the cowardly one. Me and another girl almost passed out too. Me and one of the 15% of girls in the engineering college.
I was gonna say how many. I did like engineering school was weird for that. I think I graduated, and this was at state. I think in my electrical class there was like 6 girls that also walked, and most of them were foreign exchange students. Barely.
Walked like graduated. I was like, walked
Yeah.
like they quit.
No, like went across the stage, like
I've never graduated. I didn't know.
I always assumed that there was very few, but to actually like be there and like only count like on your hand how many girls you're like, that's insane. For that big of a school.
Nearly enough.
Man.
But any last thoughts on the roller coaster idea? Programmable roller coaster, I was going to call it, but probably could come up with a better name if we had time.
I guess kind of modular isn't really the word for it.
Surprise roller coaster.
The mystery coaster.
Mystery
coaster.
Surprise coaster.
Wonder coaster.
Ever changing, something like that. Like mystery coaster is close, but maybe there's a
better name.
Something with infinity in it, or something that might mean infinity. Just because you like want the possibilities, and it could be anything.
Yeah.
Any shows you guys want to plug, or podcasts, or anything you want to mention?
I have Mitchell's Pub out in Weberville. We got a show at 7 p.m. the first Thursday of every month. April 13th in New Lothrop. I'm hosting an event at a Rustic Meadows reception hall.
Where are those? Like south of Lansing-ish?
New Lothrop is like between Owasso and Flint, I believe. So like north of 69 out towards Flint area. And then Weberville is Mitchell's Pub. That's about a half hour east of Lansing.
Only show I got up next is comedy at the Creek. Haven't done that yet. Jason Pierpoint puts that on. Looks like a really awesome show. I'm pretty excited. Awesome.
Are you on for March?
Yeah. That's this
Oh, okay. I'll see you there then. I'm on that one too.
I got an embarrassing storytelling show on the 9th.
Is that Planet Ant?
No, that's at the Windsor Comedy Club. And then March 15th, I'm doing, if you follow Doomvana or Cult Doom, she's doing this like whole, it's basically like there's going to be dominatrixes, pole dancers, burlesque dancers, and then just one stand-up comedian, which is me. There's like this huge list of performers.
Nice.
Yeah, which is cool. She's like, "You want to do 20?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So that's a really cool event. Just if you want a variety show, and that's going to be in the Detroit area, you can check out my page, Skippy Rose Comedy, for the details on that. And then I would encourage everyone to check out my web comedy series, How Did I Get Into This? You can look it up on YouTube. It's also posted to my page, but I'm really proud of the sketches. So. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, cool. I have a thing called Gaming McFitness, a Twitch channel where I build video game controllers into fitness machines and then play games on them.
That's cool.
Nice.
This has been a production of Planet Ant Podcast, powered by Pinecast.